There are a couple of suggestions from my side. I hope most of them are aware of Linux operating system. Otherwise, you can just start using it, because in automation space, at some point you will end up using Linux system, because you're not going to keep your script running it from a Windows machine most of the time. You'll have some Ubuntu or CentOS or any other Fedora operating system running. There you need to put your Python script and run it, right? At that time you need to use or any third-party monitoring tool or most of the applications, right? Which is designed to work in Linux. And CLI is almost same like Mac OS, so you can just start using it. Then start using IDE, because today we will be installing IDE is my preferred. PyCharm is my preferred IDE for writing Python script. That actually gives a good suggestion that helps you to write better code actually. That also again depends on individual's choice. Then try creating a GitHub repo. Like you can create a private repo initially, start putting the code there, so that you can have all your code in one place. So you can access it from any machine at any time, right? And later maybe you can make it as public once you are very comfortable with the scripts and all the logics whatever you have written. And maybe I'll quickly run through what I'm going to cover in actual Python workshop. Then we'll move into today's session. So in day one, even in today's session, we'll be looking into Paramiko, like how to initiate connection to a Cisco device using Paramiko, how to write a line by line. I'll be writing Python script and show you how to handle that. And we'll be using Invoke Shell method for initiating our SSH to Cisco. Okay, and there are two methods available in Paramiko, like exec command and invoke shell. But exec command we primarily use for the Linux machines, because exec command is having intelligence to identify input and outputs. But in today's session, we'll be looking into invoke shell method that is much suitable for our networking use cases. Then on day two, we will be learning Linux hosts, some SSH key-based authentication, then handling the exceptions in Python. Then some of the basic file operations, how to read and write a file using Python script, and how to read a text file for configuring the device, and how to put it into the Python script, how to loop through multiple devices, which is in the text file, all these concepts in here. Then day three, mostly going to be completely regular expression fundamentals. There we'll learn how to write regex logic ourselves. If you want to parse your interface configuration, we know there are text FSM or other templates available publicly, but if you want to write your own logic, it is better to always understand the regex pattern. So we'll be on day three completely, we'll be for 3 hours, we'll be learning regex logic. And tomorrow session, I'll be just showing some basics of regex, and we'll try to parse one interface config. But yeah, this is going to be a 3-hour session in our main weekend batch. Then the next day, on 4th day, we'll be learning Python fundamentals like for loop, while loop, if else conditions, and some of the tasks. After each day's class, I'll be giving some task, and everyone should do that task and get back to me with the solution. And I'll be reviewing individually and giving the suggestions. I won't be giving the solutions directly, but they have to work themselves to find the solution. And then functions modules, I'll be covering how to write a basic function, how to reuse your code in function, then the Python object-oriented programming, the class. Multi-threading, I'll be showing one small example today. I'll be using the basic threading module, but we have multiple ways to do multi-threading, like concurrent features and all, but that I'll be covering in the main batch. But here I'll be showing a small example of multi-threading. And on day 5, we'll be learning list and dictionary and all the supported methods, then sets, tuples, the difference between those two, then PyCharm debugging, how to debug your code using PyCharm, then what is the mutable and immutable objects and how this impacts your code, how the behavior changes when you use some mutable objects in for loop, out of for loop, and we will see that example using PyCharm debugging. Then on day 6, we'll be learning CSV, how to read a CSV file, how to read it using multiple libraries like CSV reader, CSV dict reader methods are there. Then how to use datetime, how to schedule a script execution. So that even we will see some basics today, how the schedule functionality. So today we'll be looking into schedule, multi-threading, Paramiko, and Netmiko basics. Then how to, on day 6, we'll be learning execute Python script in background. Then on day 7, how to enable logging in Python, like how to write different log handlers like SMTP handler or file handler. File handler will log into your file system. It will log to a log file, and stream handler will log into your terminal. Then SMTP can trigger an email to your Gmail. We'll see some example like using the previously learned topic schedule, how to schedule an interface monitor. And for monitoring that interface, we'll be using regex logic. And whenever that interface goes down, using the logging mechanism, we will trigger an email. That is one example we'll be learning. Then enumerate, tabulate, we can use it for creating tables in Python, like the data, whatever you are getting, you can even convert a dictionary or list into a table format, and which will be much more readable than reading the dictionary or list directly, right? So that we'll learn. Then list comprehension, how to make your code in a compressed way with maybe multiple for loops and other logic, right? We can combine everything and create a single line of code using comprehension. Then copy, deep copy, the difference between these two. Then how to do the sorted and the sub process for executing backend commands. Then on day 8, we'll be learning how to create a JSON file, YAML file, XML file, and how to read configuration data from all these kind of files, right? JSON, YAML, and XML. Then on day 8, we'll be learning Netmiko. Netmiko even today I'm covering. Then in Netmiko text FSM, Jinja to template, how to use that in the script. Now on day 9, we'll be learning Napalm. Napalm is another library available for automating network devices. Actually, Napalm consumes even other libraries functionalities. So Napalm, some example, then Nornir. Nornir is a combination of like Napalm and Netmiko. How to use that, and Nornir is having a lot of other concurrent functionalities, and it is like Ansible. You can have an inventory file, and from inventory you can just fetch the device. You can do the filtering, execute the task. All these details we'll see. Then on day 10, it will be RESTconf basics, netconf, and how to do a packet capture using Python. Then some nmap, how to do some nmap and scanning, the network scanning using Python. These are the entire content for 10 days. But today we will be learning first how to set up PyCharm. So we can get started, right, for today's session. Let me open the chat as well. Okay, yeah. So here I have a PyCharm installed. So first I'll try to uninstall this. But this is completely new PyCharm installation. So I'll exit that. I just kept a very simple Python script to uninstall this. What it does, just execute all these commands in the terminal. That's all it does to uninstall. Rather than deleting, executing these commands manually, what I can do is I can just open terminal. Dot slash yeah, this is trying to uninstall the PyCharm from my machine. Now if you see here, I don't have PyCharm installed. Now to install PyCharm, what we can do is we can go to their official site and get the documentation. So I'll go to my browser. This is the document which explains how to install PyCharm. You can come to this and you can select standalone installation Linux. And if you see here, we need to install the community edition. Professional edition is having some more additional functionalities. It is having more other programming languages support, but professional and community edition both supports Python, so we can start using community edition stuff because professional is chargeable. It is $200 per year. So I'll copy this. I just need to run this command. Now this will be downloading the entire PyCharm setup from internet, which is I think around 500 MB. Or wait, I'll cancel this and put the community edition. Okay, yeah, community edition got installed in my machine. Now, what you need to do is we can go to the application list and click on PyCharm, and this will start loading the PyCharm setup. So I can give do not import setting, it will start opening it. I'll minimize all the other windows. Yeah, so this is asking to create a new project. So you can click on new project, and this is where most of them will get confused. So what it is doing is it is going to create a project locally, the project folder locally. Okay, if you see here, home user one PyCharm projects, you can go to the directory home. So we don't have any folder called PyCharm projects now, right? So this is going to create a folder called Python project, and then it is going to create a virtual environment. So virtual environment is nothing but a separate Python executable, Python interpreter, because my operating system will have a base interpreter. For example, if I go to my operating system and give Python 3, you can see I have a default Python running 3.10.4, and if I click on the pip list, right? If I give pip list, it will show all the libraries installed in it. Like you can see these are the default libraries installed. But if I want to use this for my project, always, yeah, if I want to use this one, right, always I need to go and install all the required packages here. And this might not be scalable when you use multiple projects, or if you want to use some different libraries or different versions in individual Python, right? This won't be scalable. So what we can do is we can create independent Python executables in a folder. That you can do it in multiple ways. You can even use the virtual environment command. If you're installing a new Ubuntu machine, you need to make sure you are installing the virtual environment in the Ubuntu before even installing the PyCharm. So the command to install that is apt-get install python 3 virtual environment. I already have installed it. So it says that it is already there in the machine. Otherwise, you need to manually install it. And then you need to install the virtual environment, install the PyCharm. Otherwise, we will get the virtual environment error in your PyCharm. This you should always remember that you need to install Python 3 virtual environment before installing your PyCharm if it is a new Ubuntu machine. Okay, then so this is going to create a new virtual environment, and you can see the virtual environment directory. So first I'll show a manual method to install a virtual environment. So here I'm into my scripts folder. You can see here on my desktop, there is a folder called scripts. So to install a virtual environment, I'll give the command. This is like how to install manually. Virtual env. I'll give name. My virtual. This is just a name. This will create it with this folder name. And the base Python is 3.10. So I'll take a copy of that. So -p, and I'll give my base operating systems Python 3. Now this folder is empty. When I execute this, this creates a new Python virtual environment in that folder. So now you can see here I have a my virtual environment folder, and if I want to access that, so before that I'll just try running pick list from my base operating system. This is having this many packages installed. Now let me go to my new environment. So from inside the scripts folder, I need to give source and the directory bin activate. You can see here now in the left side it is the environment name, and here if I type pip list, so this is having very minimal package, only the default packages. Now if I want to install any package here manually to the virtual environment, what I can do, pip install. For example, if I want to install Paramiko, I can just give install Paramiko. It is downloading and installing it into that virtual environment. After that, if I give pip list here, you can see now Paramiko is there in my virtual environment. And if I want to come out of this, I can just give deactivate. Now here if I give list, this again has all the other default packages, and now again I'll go back to my, then here if you want to upgrade it, upgrade any package, install upgrade and Paramiko, you can give in that way. It is already met. Actually I have installed the latest one only here. Then if I want to uninstall this, I can give uninstall. Before that, what we'll do, we'll just see the package details. Pip show. If you give that, this shows the dependency and other side package details. And if you want to uninstall this, pip will give yes here. So this successfully uninstalled Paramiko. If I give here again, Paramiko is gone. So this is called virtual environment. Now, if I want to remove this completely, what I need to do is I just need to remove this folder. If I remove this folder, this environment is gone. And same way, if I want to map this to the current environment, what I need to do is I can just go here. If I'm using any existing environment, I can go and direct this to that environment. I hope everybody are clear. I see I can go here, scripts, bin, and here from here I can select it, Python 3. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the default setting. So I'll install a virtual environment here in this folder. So currently I don't have any directory here. in my home. So it will start creating a directory. So let me click on create. Okay, you can see here now, this is created 𝗣𝗶𝗃. That was the environment name or the folder name what we have given there. And it has created even a test file. This we can just use it for testing it. The indexing update and all, you can just give it as default. This will be used for the big projects where multiple people write code, and when they want to do some indexing, they can use that. Now, if you want to test it after indexing is done, you can just start running the script. Is it clear till now how to install virtual environment and what is virtual environment in Python? How to install and uninstall packages? If anybody is having any questions, you can put it in the chat. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So now let me just show how to change the environment variable here. Now we have selected that folder, right? 𝗣𝗶𝗃. Now to change it, you need to go to Python project, Python interpreter, and here you can see the new environment. If I want to change it, even I can change it from here. Like I can click on add, and I can go to a new directory. See bin, and from here I can select the new Python package. Now to install a package, so what we'll do, we'll click on plus button here, and I can give here Paramiko or Netmiko. I'll install Paramiko first. Now this has successfully installed Paramiko into my base machine. I can click on OK. And what we'll do, we'll try creating a very simple Python file here. I can create a folder here. And here some simple operations, like I can just import. Okay, if I want to increase the font size of it, I can go to settings, editor, font, and I can increase the font size. I'll give 14. Yeah, I think it is visible now for everyone, right? So I'll try to import this, and if I want to get the environment path, what I can do is print sys.path. You try running it. See, this prints the current Python path. You should be able to see that the home user1 PyCharm project 𝗣𝗶𝗃. So you should be able to see that as well here. Okay, now if you want to get the Python version, print sys.version, and this prints the Python version. And similar way, we have a module called OS. So I'll import OS, and from here os dot get current working directory. This will print the current working directory of the script. Okay, these are some basic operations which you can test it using the default libraries. Okay, now before moving into Python, I'll show some more settings which you need to do in your Linux. For example, I have a old VIOS router. If I try to SSH to that, 61 is IP. See, I'm getting an error saying that unable to negotiate with the device, right? No matching key exchange method found. The reason for that is the OpenSSH is not by default allowing some of the insecure key, the current age, right? Some of the insecure, but some of the older Cisco devices still works on those. So how we can handle that error? I'll just put one of the OpenSSH documentation. So here you can see, right? OpenSSH implements all the cryptographic algorithms. So to support the, see some of the weak algorithms, they are disabling by default. So how we can enable that? In Ubuntu, what you need to do is, you need to go to ssh_config. So you need to give the sudo because this need admin privilege. So I have already added these two lines here, but you need to manually copy and paste it. It won't be available in the Ubuntu by default. So what I'll do, I'll just, I hope everyone are little aware of this, like the Linux command. I'll just press. So what I did earlier, I did a VI. So VI is a Win tool to open a file. So I did a VI of that file, and after keeping the cursor in the place where I need to make changes, I just pressed I. When I pressed I, it changed to insert mode. Now I can type anything I need. I am just deleting that hash. Hash means it is comment. And after that, I need to escape WQ. This will write the content to the file. Now, if you try to SSH, now error has changed, right? So what it says now? So it says no matching host key type found. So that is another error. So to change that, what you need to do is edit the file. So here I have even added, so this works on SSH RSA. The Cisco older VIOS devices also on RSA. So we need to enable that as well. So we need to update this also. Host key algorithm need to change to RSA. I'll press I, remove the command, save the file. Now you can SSH to the device. Now same way you can even add the SSH key and all to the Ubuntu machine, and then that key has to be updated to the Cisco router so that you can log in without credentials. Like you don't have to give username and password at all. So Cisco will by default trust this Ubuntu machine, but those are not part of this. It is not coming under this one. So I'll just move ahead with other settings. So let us go to PyCharm, and I'll write a new script. 01 Netmiko demo. So here we'll start writing a very basic Netmiko, but throughout this session, I'll be primarily focusing on Paramiko because Paramiko is a foundation library to learn. Netmiko is something written on top of Paramiko, which creates an abstract layer for communicating with it. It hides a lot of complexities in the backend, like getting the terminal, executing the command, waiting for the output, and expected terminal status, command, everything handles. Netmiko is actually easy to easy to write, but we have to learn Paramiko to understand actual SSH connection. So first I'll show one Netmiko example, then we will go into Paramiko. So for that, what we need to do is we need to import Netmiko, but currently I don't have it installed, so it will show some error. Forgive net, it is not showing. Now to install Netmiko, I'll go to File, Settings, Python interpreter. I'll add Netmiko here. You can see the current library list. This automatically installs all the dependency packages for Netmiko. Now we have less than 10 packages, so we'll start adding. You can see here now, right? This has installed multiple packages, 𝗪𝗔𝗫 template, then I think 𝗪𝗏 and this is for the text FSM and all. They use 𝗪𝗔𝗫 templates. So yeah, you can see even text FSM for templating and all. They are using 𝗪𝗔𝗫 template here. Now we'll write the script for Netmiko from and then we need to create an instance of the device. So what we can do, you will get a lot of example scripts. You can see one example here, right? From Netmiko import connect handler. Here they're importing, but connect handler and Netmiko are same. I'll show that in the Netmiko code. So then we need to initialize the device like this. So we are going to create an instance of a Cisco iOS using this. You can see here, right? Netmiko supports device type. So to explore that, what we can do is same way we'll start writing it. So my router I'll create and I'll give Netmiko. And if I want to go and see the backend of this, I can just click on Netmiko and press Ctrl B. So this goes to the init file of my Netmiko, and I can click on connect handler because see Netmiko, they are saying Netmiko equal to connect handler. So I can just click on connect handler and press Ctrl B, B for Bravo, and then it is going to base connection. And inside SSH dispatcher, you can see all the device types it supports. Here, if you search for Cisco, you should be able to see even the Cisco iOS. See, these are the devices supported by Netmiko. All these devices, only thing what you need to do is you need to just give device type, whichever device you're going to use. So Netmiko will take the logic accordingly and connects to the device. So here we are going to use Cisco iOS. So what we can do, I'll click on Cisco iOS SSH, press Ctrl D, and it is taking, these are some classes they are using. You can just explore in this way. It goes to Cisco base connection. And so here you can see the actual code, how they are handling Cisco connection. So enable password. They are doing all the heavy lifting in the backend. We just have to execute only 4 or 5 commands to do our configuration task. Everything is handled in the backend. You can see, right? So the prompt and the terminal, all this, the wait time, everything it is handled in the backend. Now we'll go to base connection. We go to base connection, we can see the parameters or attributes what we need to set for this. So the base connections attributes, that is what we are configuring here. The device type, host, username, passport number, and other details. You can see same thing here. IP, host, username, password, and device type. Is it clear? Yeah, Shiva is asking. Yeah, you can use it. Yeah. Okay. So now let us, okay. Now this is clear, right? All these options, how to explore all these options available. Now let's just start writing it. So I'll close all these files. These are some of the advantages of using IDEs, right? So you can just map it, like it itself creates an index of all this. And if you just press the Control B by clicking on any of the method or functions, right? You can just go to that code. And even if you enable this debug, right? If you debug, you can even actually go and explore inside each code. Like you can just do all this exploration using all this debug or the indexing of your IDE. Now let us just start writing Netmiko connection. So I think first I'll connect to one Cisco DevNet device. Why I'm showing is you can also try using this if you don't have any Cisco device readily available. Username I'll give here. We need to give the device type as well. Device type equal to Cisco iOS. Once we give this, and we'll try printing this. Print my router dot. There are a lot of methods available here. We won't be covering everything. I'll be just showing a basic method like find prompt. This will try to find the prompt of your device. And before that, I'll just do a print of connected to the device, and then I'll try to print the prompt. And this device even you can access from anywhere. So it is accessible. It is accessible anywhere from internet. So let me just try running this. You can see here, right? I'm getting the prompt. See, I'm not doing anything. I'm just giving the device credentials and giving find prompt. So everything is done in the backend by Netmiko. But we'll do same thing with Paramiko later. Now, if you want to execute one command, I'll create another variable. Show run. We'll try to take configuration backup. So what I can do, I can just connect to this router instance. My router. This is just a variable name. My router dot. There is a method called send command. And inside that I can send any command to the device. So I'll give show run and I'll do a print of show run. So I'm getting the complete output here. You can also start using this one, or I'm changing this to my local device. I'm having local CSR running, so I'll change to 0.63. I'll get output quickly if I use local device. So I'm just using my local device. So I can get the output like this. Is it clear till now? So now we will try to write this into a text file. What we need to do is we need to do with open and we'll write a file called Netmiko backup dot txt and we'll do write mode I cannot go so deep into all this because we have limited time, right? We have only 1.5 hours. So I'll just show how to do that, and you can just export because each script is going to have maximum 40 to 50 lines. So you can even try each line and explore it. And this is going to work wherever you're going to use this, right? This script is going to work. So I'll just make it as my data. This is just another variable. You can give anything here. It is just a variable. So we are opening that, and then this show run data we need to write to this my data. So what we need to do is my data dot write and the show run content. So let us try running this. You can see here now I have received a text file which contains complete running config output of the device. Is it clear how to read a file or how to write content to the file? Everyone? Okay. So let me just show how to read a file and how to do some comparison in your browser itself. So for that, what I'll do, now I have a Netmiko backup. So I'll try to write one more file, Netmiko new backup. Now we have two backup files. We'll do some comparison between these two. For that, we'll open the files and put the content into a variable. So I'll create a variable called reference equal to, I'll open the file reference config. That is going to be my reference config. This is going to be my reference config. So Netmiko backup.txt, I'll open that, and that content I'm going to put it into another variable, reference content equal to the ref variable, right? The variable what I created there, dot read lines. So what it does, it will read each line and create a list. If you try running this, ref content, we need to give read lines here, and I'll comment this show run output. The entire output came it as a list here. Now we'll try to do a comparison between the new backup file and the reference backup file. So I'll create another variable new and open. Netmiko new backup. New content equal to the same method. New dot, for reading there are multiple methods. Even you can use with open method. With open, if you use, you don't know how to close the file. Read lines, and in both places we need to close a file. So because we'll get the variable here and inside reference contents, so after that we can close the file. Now we'll write a logic for comparison. I'll be using difflib for comparing this, so I'll import difflib here. This is available by default in Python. So now just understand this logic, like conf compare. I'm just going to create another difflib dot. I'm going to do a HTML diff. Even the text difference you can do. So I'm just saying you make a file, and from lines means I'm already getting the lines here, reference content. So from lines, I'll give reference content, 2 lines. I'll give new content, and from description I'll give some description here, like some heading for that, the table name. You can give anything here. Here I'll give current config. Okay, now let me just try printing config compare. You can see an HTML file here, right? Now, only with this single line of script, I'm getting a comparison in HTML. So that is the advantage of this diff_lib. And now only thing what we need to do is we need to store this conf compare into an HTML file. So what I'll use the same method with open. I'll create diff.html, and it is going to be in a write mode, and new diff.write and the conf compare. I'll try running this. Okay, now I have a new file, diff.html. Let us go to our PyCharm project, Python project. Here we have an HTML file. If I open it, I can see a text comparison of both config. Let me do some configuration difference. So my backup config, what I'll do, I'll change IP address. And I'll add one more loopback interface. And we'll try running the script again. Now if we go here, and so you can see the difference now, right? See, HTML diff_lib is showing the actual difference what we have done here. See, because it is, this config is not there in the actual current running config, and this is changed. This is one of the useful feature. Now, in addition to this, even you can just fire up a browser session here itself. For that, what you can do is import web browser, that is also a default library. So web browser dot open new tab, and I'll open diff dot I'll close the browser, the tab, and now we'll try running it. See, it automatically opened the browser, and we can see the difference here. Okay. Yeah, you can combine multiple files and compare it. That also is possible here. Yeah. Now Now let us go to our, I hope now you are clear with Netmiko, right? Basics of Netmiko, how we can use Netmiko, how easy it is. Now let me just show one Paramiko example. Same thing we'll try to do with Paramiko, but I would suggest you to start learning even Paramiko so that you will understand actual SSH backend. I'll create a file here. We have Paramiko already installed. So what we can do is I'll just import Paramiko and we'll go to their site. You can see here Paramiko is a pure Python implementation of SSH version 2 protocol. This provides client and server functionality. We'll be using client functionality because we are going to act as a client for all these routers or any other devices, right? So you can go, if you want to go through the documentation, you can go to API documents. And here they'll be giving some examples of the Paramiko connection. You can just go to client. And here actually what they are showing is it is exec command method for Linux. But for Cisco devices and all, the shell method is better than invoke shell method is better than exec command because here this is having some intelligence to identify error message and all. So you won't be able to execute multiple commands and all in the same session. This will be executing a single command waiting for the output. It is, but in our case, we will be executing multiple commands, right? If you want to configure an interface, IP address, description. So those things are difficult with the exec command. So we'll be using invoke shell method. So let us just start writing it. I'll define the Cisco DevNet device credentials here. Then I'll create initialize a variable. Yeah, SSH client equal to the same like what we have seen here. We are going to initialize it. Paramiko dot client dot SSH client. So I'm just creating an object. Then now let us just try connecting to SSH in the device. SSH client dot connect, and here we should be able to see the values we need to pass, like host name, port number, username, password, everything we have to pass. So let me just start setting host name, the host name, whatever I set there, the variable. Then port, these are actually Paramiko's properties, the Paramiko's attributes like port number, port, and equal to 22. And here what we can do is we will give look for keys false because we are not going to use any SSH keys. So sometime otherwise your script will fail. You should try to look for your SSH keys and try to connect to the device. Allow agent also you can give false. But when you're using SSH key based authentication, you need to give this true. Now let us try connecting to the device. We'll try running this script. Okay, so we are getting an error. So it says server iOS.exe not found in known host. In a production environment, what we do is we have all the devices SSH key added as trusted, right? But here in this scenario, we haven't added that into our known host list. That is why we are getting this error. To mitigate that, what we can do is SSH client, but in production, it is better to add the SSH key as a known trusted host in the list. Set missing host key policy. What we can do, we can Paramiko dot auto add policy, and in the Paramiko documentation, you should be able to see that. See, auto add policy. If you do that, So it will automatically add when you connect to a specific client. But you have noticed it, right? In Netmiko, we were not doing anything. When we gave this was handling everything in the backend. We don't know what was happening, right? It just connected to the device and gave us a prompt. But here we need to handle this. Okay, this is one important point you need to note. Then now we need to invoke a connection to the device, right? Here you can see multiple methods. So here we will be using invoke shell method. So you can see here invoke shell will start an interactive shell session with the device to the SSH server. So it is going to be an interactive shell. This actually doesn't, the invoke shell doesn't bother whether you're getting an error message or anything. It just streams it as a data. Whatever you're putting, it will just put it as bytes. It just prints other responses. Now, the device, the same connection, device asset equal to SSH client dot invoke shell. Once we do that, let us just do a print. We'll see how long it is taking. We'll print connected. So it is connected to the device, but we are not getting anything in the terminal or prompt. Now, if you try to print even device access, it is just going to be a Paramiko object. That's all. Now, if you want to send any command, there is a method called send here. You can see send here. So this will just send any data, whatever you are passing to the device. So here, but Paramiko, the Cisco device actually through SSH, this accepts data in byte format. So device access dot send and bytes. You need, when you're sending that data in bytes, you need to give it as a bytes. And then let me just try simply giving show run. Okay, so we will just try printing output equal to, because while after sending it to receive it, what we need to do is we need to set the receive bytes here. Receive bytes, we can just give how many bytes maximum we need to receive. We'll give maximum 65, 535 is the maximum. Let us just try printing output here. You can see here, right? It is giving some /r/n because it is in byte format. Even the response data what I'm receiving is in bytes format. Bytes and string, I'll be explaining the main session, because if we start that itself will take around 30 minutes. So here in the bytes, we should be able to see it as a entire byte data, like it is a carriage return and /n. When you're directly getting data from device, it comes in this format. Okay, yeah. Now what we need to do is we need to do a decode here. Now we'll try running it. So still I'm not getting any output, but I'm just giving one show run command, right? What I'll do, I'll just try giving some delay here, time dot sleep 3 seconds. And when I give time dot sleep, you can see here, it automatically imported time here. And these are some of the intelligences of the IDEs. Still I'm not getting, see, you can see here, right? This just given show run, but nothing is happening, because since I'm sending it as bytes, even I need to give the enter here. So enter is /n. Now we'll try giving. I got the output, but now also it is not complete, because it is not giving more. But in Netmiko, you remember, it was simple. Once you give just execute show run, this gives entire output. But rest everything it does in the backend. But here you can see, right? I'm not able to press the more button here, right? So what I can do is, on top of this, to copy and paste the same line of code, I need to click on that and press Control D, D for Delta. And I'll give a terminal length 0. And we'll try running now. Now I'm getting complete out. See, we have handled many things manually here, right? The SSH key, we have added auto add policy. We are manually trusting it. Then we are adding /n. We are sending data in bytes format. In Netmiko, it was string. Then we are adding additional string. Then the output we are decoding to bytes. Is it clear till now? Okay. Now we will try taking configuration backup.
Dave, just a reminder, we have 15 minutes more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but yeah, how about others? Maybe we take another 20 minutes more, maybe like by 8:15. Is that okay for everyone? Others? Okay, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just write Paramiko. So we'll take Paramiko backup. Paramiko backup.txt. And here also we're going to do the same thing, like write mode Paramiko data and the output. Let's try running this. Okay, now we have Paramiko backup. So this is how we can take configuration backup using Paramiko. Is it clear? Okay, now we'll see how to schedule a script execution. So for that, I'll create a new file. And same way, you can even do the comparison. You can just create another file, do a diff, and you can just open the browser and show the comparison. But 03 underscore so here what I'll do, I'll copy this script. I'll paste it here and let us go to Python. We'll go to their official document. So yeah, this is, you need to manually install this. This won't be available by default. You can use this schedule for running the schedule task. It is very easy to use. You need to install it using pip install schedule, then import schedule and time we are already importing. Then you need to make this as a function. Whatever we are going to do, you need to convert this into a function. Here, this function just prints something. That's all. And then you need to run schedule, and you can just give the interval how often you need to run it. Then define a while true loop. So let us do for our this script execution. So what I'll do, I'll just define this as a function. So this entire thing I'll define as a function here. You can do same this with even Netmiko. And inside function will be passing functions also. I won't be covering in detail. I'm just showing how to use a function. Yeah. Hostname. So these are the major three variables, right? Hostname, username, and password. These are the three variables which I'm going to pass to this function. Because of I haven't given two enders. Because of that, it was showing some error here because they are comparing this with Python standard syntaxes. And here you can see the reason, right? It shows Shadow's name out of outer scope. You can see I have given some variables here. I can just comment that error will go. Now, if I want to take a configuration backup, I'll put this also here. After this, we need to do SSH client.close as well. Even in our previous script, we need to do that. In Paramiko also, I think it is, yeah. In Paramiko, Netmiko we are doing already. Okay, now what I can do, I can just use this function for calling the device. I have a dictionary here. Let me just copy and paste it. This is a DevNet CSR dictionary. I just created a manual dictionary here. So what I need to do is, if I want to initiate connection to CSR, just go backup. And when I'm passing keyword argument, it is like dictionary. When I'm passing dictionary, what I can do, I can just give the dictionary name. Else I can even manually give all the variable like username, password, like this name, comma, username, comma, password. I can give in that way, or I can directly pass the dictionary. So I'll just pass the dictionary here. I'll try running this. Okay, this prints output. Same way, if I want to add my device, take copy of this and put it lab CSR, the device IP, my lab IP. Now, only thing I need to do is I need to just change it here. That is the advantages of function. When I use function, it is going to reuse the code. See, now this gives output from my lab CSR. We can have multiple lines like this. Now we'll see how to schedule this. Now to schedule this, first we need to import the schedule. We haven't installed it, so we'll go to settings. schedule. And after that, we need to just follow their syntax. So we'll try to schedule every 15 seconds. Schedule dot every 15 dot seconds and dot do the function we need to give. Here also we can see the function name. So here you can see the function name. So we'll try giving that. Our function name is Cisco backup, and you don't have to give parentheses there. Then the variable what we need to pass. We will try giving our 𝗪𝗶𝗃𝗃. And after that, the same syntax, while true, schedule dot run pending time dot sleep 1. You can see here, even if you don't give time dot sleep, it will work. Now if you try running this, okay, one more thing what we'll do, we'll try adding timestamp to the file name so that we can see multiple files here. Import date time, and to get the time, what we can do is here after getting the output, to get the time, now we'll create a variable now date time dot now. It is actually a method available there. It is like if you give this print now, this is my variable, this is their method, so it will print the current time in the terminal. It is waiting for, I think, 15 seconds to occur. After that, it will just keep looping. But now this is going to just print the time. This time, what we'll do, let us just see where this prints the time. Yeah, here it is printing the time. I'll stop the script. We'll try adding, but it is adding some microseconds and all, right? So we'll try removing that and add this as a file name. So to remove that, what we can do is replace microseconds equal to 0. And here in the file, what we'll do, we'll make it as a formatted string. Formatted string is another topic. Here we'll give the variable now underscore, we'll give backup. Let us start running this. So now every 15 seconds it will run the script and take the backup with the timestamp. Once script execution is completed, it will show the output here, or we can even see here. See, it is started adding the data. So you can, each time it is adding the data. So it is taking the backup. Is this clear? Okay, yeah. Okay, Samir is asking, can we add host name? Yeah, definitely we can add it. I'll just show that. What we can do is we just need to change this to a variable. Like we are already getting the host name. So now if I try running it, it will start adding the router IP or host name. See, now we are getting the device IP because we are considering that also as a variable. Any variable you can put it into the formatted string and create it. Okay, now I'll show one more concept like multi-threading, very basic multi-threading, how we can execute this Paramiko parallelly to multiple devices at a time. Okay, I'll copy this script. Create a new Python file. To understand it is happening parallelly, what we can do is we will try adding more data into our print statements. So here, after connecting to the device, we'll do a print here, formatted string, connected to the device, and we'll put hostname. And then before saving it, formatted string, saving the hostname. Okay, we are already storing with hostname, so this should be enough. And I will add one more device here, iOS V. 61 is IP, credentials are same. Now we'll remove the schedule functionality from here. We can even remove the import. And to write a threading, I'm just showing one template which you can follow. When you have a function, this function, and when you have variables, you can just use same method anywhere. So just follow this, just try to capture as much as possible. So it's going to be maximum 7 to 8 lines of code. So backup thread list, we are going to create a list and each thread we are going to append to this particular list. So we are initiating a backup threads list, and then we need to iterate through the device. Each device we need to iterate through. So for each device in, and then either we can create a list of these devices here. This is only 3 devices, so I can just add it here itself. Or else what we can do is we can just create a list here like L1 equal to dev.net CSR, lab iOS, and then you can call it there, or we can just do here or here itself. It is like we are going to iterate through the list. Lab iOS. Then we're going to execute on each device. So it is like because the task is config backup, that is why I'm going to call this as backup thread list. So this is backup each thread equal to threading dot thread, and I gave that. See, my ID has automatically imported this, and then I need to give the function name. It was like a schedule only, right? In schedule also we were doing something similar, like do the function name. Same way, Cisco backup, comma. Then we are going to pass keyword arguments. This in the main session I'll be explaining in detail. Like there is one more method called concurrent features. That is a new method. Like that is little more efficient for our IO operation, but we don't see much difference here or using threading or concurrent features. Actually, in our cases, when it is a lab keyword arguments, then see in each iteration I'll be getting individual device. In the first iteration, DevNet CSR, then lab. So I'm going to add this as device. Okay. Then this thread of each device I need to append to the main list. You can just follow the same template for any of these similar functionality. Like if you have function and you have a dictionary to pass it, just try using this. Backup thread list dot append, and just give the previously created thread of each device. Now this will get appended there, and then we need to start each thread. Backup thread dot start. Okay, now only two more lines. Because once we start these threads, we need to join. Actually, even if we call this as multi-threading parallel execution, this actually there will be a microsecond difference in each task that is doing by CPU, but that we won't feel any difference. Thread in and our main list, backup thread list, and then we just need to join the thread. That's all. This is all required for enabling multi-threading when you have a function and dictionary. Now we'll try running this. Okay, I'll delete all this. You can see here, right? All these three. You can see the time stamp here. 27. Cisco iOS, because since it is in internet, it is taking some time to start. That is why. And if I try running it again. Now, if you want to schedule this, that is also easy. Only thing what you need to do is convert this into a function, the schedule into a function, and yeah, you can just convert this threading into a function and use that function in your schedule. That's all you need to do. In each execution, you can see everything is happening parallelly. Is it clear? Yeah, this is it for today's session. Yeah. Any questions, you can put it in the chat, or you can even reach out to us directly. If tomorrow again we are going to do a session.
Dave, there were a few questions from Shiva, and Shiva wanted to know if we can use VS Code on Windows machine. Next.
Yeah, we can use it. We can.
And
But
question from Shiva was, it said any vendor, Juniper, Cisco, or Fortinet, can Python pick specified commands to run on those devices?
in 40K devices.
FortiGate, Palo Alto, Cisco, can Python pick specific commands to
So
run
from
on?
where to pick actually? You have any text file or something?
I think the question was not very clear. Even I think can Python be used to run scripts on these vendor devices? I think the answer is yes.
Yes. You can execute on any device which supports SSH. Actually, what Paramiko does is just initiate SSH and send just some stream out command, gets the output and just showing in the terminal. That's all. You can do it on any device which supports SSH.
Second question again was from one of the candidates on how they're using Windows, so where they can run these things. They don't have Ubuntu or Linux. So can you run through the lab scenarios where you can just give an intro on how the lab will be?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Nitin. So we are actually Nitin and myself, we are discussing and building a lab also for all the candidates to practice. So we have even started working on how this lab will look like. This is our initial document. So what we are planning is we'll give you the same scenario, whatever I'm showing, right? Actually, I'm running it from one of the lab which we are designing for the candidate. Like you will have these devices, right? You will have, for example, one lab CSR. Let me just open the PDF. I'll show you. Maybe the initial lab will contain these devices. You will have RDP session to an Ubuntu machine over internet, and from that RDP, you can either open direct console or SSH. Direct console means if you want to completely erase the config and reconfigure it, you can just from the terminal you just need to type con R1. If you give con R1, it will open the direct console of that device. And then you can configure the device. And same way, you will have CSR 1000 that you can use for your netconf, resconf, or any other testing. Internal CSR, the same CSR which I'm using, same way, you will have dedicated CSR and two VIOS router and two switches with Ubuntu and all these packages installed. You should be able to try all this. And then you will be getting a 40K device to test your basic API and CLI automations. Future we'll be adding a lot more devices like Palo Alto and other vendors. But we are just starting to build the lab. As we expand our lab and infrastructure, we will be adding a lot more devices here. And you will have the same Ubuntu, the same spec I'm using here, which will have 4 to 8 GB RAM, and then you will have permission to run on any of these tools. So in that way, and you will be configuring this from scratch, like how I showed, right? The run book, whatever I was just showing, it was completely designed for this lab only. You can see the commands. So how to access a router? You can just give console and R1. If you give con R1, it will go to the router prompt. And then you can how to come out of the console. Then we'll be adding under how to so how to understand the Ubuntu commands, right? How to do the entire runbook will be giving. Then initial packages required for your automation task. Like the first you need to install apt update so that it will update. It will be up to date the operating system. Then net tools. Then to allow inbound SSH access, you need to install OpenSSHD in your Ubuntu. Then this also I have demonstrated, right? The SSH key. Then how to install PyCharm. This I already demonstrated. And you will have even to, if you want to remove and reinstall PyCharm, you will have the script available in your local machine C drive for individual members. Then how to install this document, then how to write your basic Python script. We just started creating some flows for all the candidates. Either you can just subscribe to our lab, or you can even set up yourself. It's up to you.
Devin, next question is about the lab. Sorry, the training.
Okay.
Whether you'll be sharing the content for the training, and this particular content. Also, how does the content shared, and if you can explain to everyone.
Yeah, sure. This recording maybe initially I'll be sharing it as a private video. I hope everyone are using their Gmail account. So whoever has attended this session, they all will get this as a YouTube private video. Later I'll be announcing this as a public. But you will definitely get. Anyone who hasn't given Gmail ID, you can just ping it here. We'll share it. Any other questions?
Even the other question was, if anyone is intermediate or a basic level, there are some more training Devin is planning for. So Devin, do you want to explain the basic, intermediate, and the expert package?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we you can reach out our email, or either you can reach out our networkevolution.in at gmail.com or info@networkevolution.com. You can just reach out, and we can help you with all the syllabuses. And we are planning to design it in three way, like basic, intermediate, and expert. So based on your expertise and your understanding on Python, we will be putting it into individual batches. And even we are planning to start weekdays batches as well. And we have one small survey, like, wait, I'll just show the survey link. I'll just open it here. So I'll put it in the chat as well. Here we are asking your email address whether interested in enrolling for our weekend workshop, like July 16th we are starting, July 16th to August 14th, and your current experience level and overall experience in network. This is optional, and your country and time zone, because based on that we will be adding the creating the schedule based on how many attendees are from which region, based on that. Because last session we had issue in accommodating our PST and EST time zone people, because it was too late for them. Even for GMT it was difficult. So this time I'll be considering that. So you can just give all these details, and if you're interested in getting our paid lab, you can let us know. And then based on that, we'll be just designing the lab, how many attendees are going to be there, the timing, everything we'll plan. I'll just share you the link. You can just start filling up the details. Anyway, we are going to have one more session tomorrow. There I'll be showing regex logic, then some basics about RESTconf. So let me just put. So this is going to be our schedule. Like July will start, but weekends it is going to be 3 hours per day. And if you want, you can add maybe, okay, additional notes, like if you have any suggestions, or you can just email to us. Yes, you will be getting uh, the invite for tomorrow also. I think it is same ID from Zoom.
I think we are good to wind up. Devin, we have exceeded 18 minutes. I hope everyone is okay with that, and we meet you all again tomorrow, same time.
Yes, yeah. Thank you all. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining in.